Welcome back to another episode of Top Flight Talk. This time we are speaking to a man still in America, not actually come back from the CWL Stage 1. It is Reedy, Jordan Reed. First of all, how are you, buddy? I know it's good news.
It's ish news. I mean, it's what we expected.
I think it's good news.
Yeah, it kind of is good news. We've qualified for Season 2, Anaheim Pool Play and Champs. I mean, excited about that. Excited to get our new fourth announced relatively soon.
I think we're going to cover that later, right?
Yeah,
we're recording this now. We know what it is, and this will come out just after your fourth is announced.
Yeah, it should do. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll talk about that later in the thing. You can't see this, Reedy, but you will do when this video comes out. I am rocking the worst facial hair anyone has ever seen. It's like a semi-goatee I haven't shaved in a week sort of thing. It's bad. You'll see it when it comes out. All right, let's kind of talk to you now. We are going to go over some stuff in the past. I want to talk about some stuff that's happened recently. Towards the end, we'll actually start talking about the controversial stuff for you heading into week 4 of the Pro League. But that's definitely later in the video. All right, so last year, it started off, you were on an elite level team for the first season last year in Epsilon. Funny enough, one of those players was actually rated, a player who's just left your team. Second season didn't go so well. You had, what, Sunny and Scraps, who are now part of Team Fnatic. What kind of happened? Because it wasn't the greatest champs placement for you. It wasn't, like, there was so much going on. Like I said, you were in the top 3 beginning with, and then you got into another team, and you kind of had to rebuild, like, dramatically. You took a chance on Sunny, you took another chance on Scraps. That was Scraps' come-up as well, right? You were the one who kind of brought him into Epsilon.
Yeah, basically what happened in Season 2, Scraps was very new to stuff, so it was he was playing well in game, getting kills and stuff. It was just the little things that what's Tommy's now like helped him with massively. Like Matty's a fucking brilliant player now, but it was just me trying to tune him into like the right player. But it wasn't meshing well with the team. I was being a bit of a greedy person, like attitude wise, like it just wasn't a great because stuff wasn't clicking how we was in the first season. It's like going from Joe and rated to Sunny and Scraps is a big difference. I mean, Sunny and Scraps are still great players, but where Scraps was still learning everything, it was still just hard, like not having that, as you say, elite level team and being able to compete, winning events. We was like coming top 6, top 16s, and like it just wasn't a good time for us, to be honest with you. But
I remember us talking about this because we talked fairly frequently, especially during that year. You said you were having issues with, and this was with Scraps and obviously Sunny, because these new players were kind of new. You said you were having the issues of, you felt like you could do parts of the job better than he could, but he couldn't do the job you wanted him to do. Which I think at the time you were trying him out in this aggressive SMG role for a little while, to kind of back up Sunny for a bit. I'm trying to think of who your fourth was at that point. Moose. Which again, you know, Moose he was having an okay year. He's had a great year now, but this is, like I said, it seems like it was just the wrong combination at the time for you to kind of move forward.
Definitely. I mean, like, just the role wise, like Matty was very good at getting kills, but he was very slow on rotations. So I could use an AR with Moose majority of the time and do the rotation thing, but I wouldn't get as many kills as Matty would. And then Matty would, like, as a sub, he wouldn't be as good as he was with an AR. I mean, he ran a sub in the league one week against LDLC, and he dropped like 50 kills, and he was just battering everyone. Don't get me wrong, he can do it, but in those high situation games, he just wasn't as good as, or as fine-tuned as I would like him to be, which was just hard for us to move forward and be a stable team. More times so, it was just like, I can't really explain it. It was more time just getting him used to playing. I mean, like I said, Tommy's done.
I can kind of back you up here. I know what you're trying to say. Scraps come from an amateur team, didn't he? That was an amateur team. He came up. He was the best in that squad, and he had the raw slaying power. We know he did, but that's not everything. I think that's what people underestimate, is what you're getting at here. It's not everything at a high level, right? Decision making is massive for you and the other players in your team, because you have to make the right decision, not just to keep you alive, but also to set up, you know, all these kinds of plays that your team is trying to make at that time. And if you make a wrong decision 1 out of 10, that's actually too many. Like most pro players don't even want to make 1 out of 100. You have to be consistently on, otherwise you start to lose positions. And I remember you saying, you know, he's a really good player. He's just, when he fails, and it's so rare that he fails, but when he fails, you can tell and we're just pushing forward. Obviously, you know, this is something that Scraps has clearly worked on.
Yeah.
Moving forward.
I mean, this year has been brilliant for Fnatic. I mean, him and his brother's come a long way. I mean, I guess maybe if we had a Tommy like in our team last year, it would have been better for him. I mean, I'm a bit hot-headed.
Little bit, really, yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Just a little bit, but he probably didn't take a lot of stuff on board. But I'm happy for him that he's landed on his feet.
All right, so I want to put a pin there. Now, you come top 16 at Champs. You weren't one of the teams that people were talking about from Europe, if that makes sense, to kind of do any better than that. You weren't in the Elite 3 going into Champs. How did you kind of rate your expectations going into Champs at the very least? Obviously, every player wants to do their very best, but kind of in hindsight, maybe, what were you expecting?
Nothing. I mean, from our team at Champs, we had to qualify through the online qualifiers.
Yeah.
It was a bit stressful. So, I mean, I would have taken myself a top 6 finish. I mean, the games we lost were easily winnable. I mean, the first day we played Renegades and I think it was Pulse. Then we went 2-0. And then, I'm not even lying to you, Bryce. I'm like not even trying to bait you out. But APOC gave me some hand cream that one of his friends gave him.
Is it APOC stitch, is he?
I'm not even lying to you, man. I swear to God, I was cooking the first day. And then APOC gave me this hand cream and I put it on before we've gone bed. And it releases all your muscles, and I've gone to sit down the next day to play LG on main stage, and I'm sitting there trying to play, and I'm like, my hands just don't feel the same. Like, the tension was gone, and like...
By the way, this is one of the best things I've ever heard.
I'm not lying to you. It affected me, because I played absolutely god-awful on the second day, and then on the third day when I left them, they got a bit more, like, how they normally were, and I started playing fine again, but second day there were games that we should have won, and I'm putting it down to APOC for rigging me. Wow. He gave me some hand cream. I don't care.
I want to know what this hand cream is now. I want to know what this hand cream is. It's APOC stitch-up cream. Some sort of...
I don't know what it was, man, but honestly, he gave me some
I guarantee as soon as this video goes live, APOC will chime in and tell you it's something normal, and he will argue his point. I'm sure you've had this argument with APOC.
I'm not. He starts laughing about it when I bring it up to him. I said he just starts laughing at me. But yeah, I'm telling you right now.
I think that's the first time in a long time of Call of Duty I've ever heard that from a player. My manager gave me some sort of cream and I couldn't work anymore.
I couldn't. Brilliant. It fully released all the tension in my hands. They felt like they were brand new, but they just weren't how I'm used to playing constantly, and it was just weird. My shot was off, my fingers were
I don't know why it's made me so happy. It's just the best thing I've ever heard.
Excuses why he's done bad.
Yeah, that's the best. That is an original excuse.
It makes sense. I'm telling you that.
It's an original excuse. It's better than I've got a bad Ethernet cable or something. That's a new one I've been hearing recently. God, someone will be saying the air's on the right quality soon, and I'm telling you. I'm telling you, it's going to have... Oh, the aircon was blowing too near me face. That'll be another one. Like, my eyes were drying out.
The aircon in events are cold now as well.
I like that, though.
As a caster, you like it, but as a player, sitting there with a hand warmer constantly, it's so cold in the rooms.
Well, I still feel like a little bit of that is down to circulation with players. Like I've always said dexterity exercises should be higher in priority. I don't get me wrong, I'm not saying everybody should do them, but I feel like if you are going to be a pro player and your hands are your business, there's no reason not to do dexterity exercises.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Before we get one of those grip string things. All right, well, let's move on from the hand cream episode into the new year, because you were Epsilon last year. You've gone into Elevate in a kind of a surprise pickup for a lot of people at the time. There was also, if I remember correctly, a lot of backlash about Elevate picking you guys up because you weren't American. You weren't American. Now, the original team, from what I understand, was Zed, Watson, you, and Shawnee. I believe that was the original squad. You also had a coach. You had a coach, Joel. Joel kind of came on board with you guys, up two, if you know who that is. And it looked like a really good start because people were saying, "Oh no, this is we shouldn't have picked him up." You had enough of a reputation for people to kind of maybe justify it. Zed, ex-Hyper Games, maybe didn't. Watson, of course, had the issues with his commitment, but that seems to be fixed this year as well. And Shawnee kind of come up from the new bit. So you can kind of see why people were a little bit worried about, is this team going to be as good as one of the American rosters you could have got? But look, it went well in the beginning, right?
It went very well in the beginning. I mean, I had no complaints. Bar the first 2K, I mean, everything was plain sailing. We was like the highest placing team at Vegas from Europe with Splice. We beat another European team that everyone was counted us out against because we lost to them in a previous 2K, being infused at the time, now Mill.
Yeah.
Then we went into Gfinity, looking really good, looking like we could take the event if we didn't make a few mistakes here and there in the semis and lose the semis. Was Gfinity single elim?
Gfinity was double because.
All right, so yeah, we got into winners semis, and then we lost winners finals. I mean, and then we lost winners finals and then lost semis.
Yeah.
So yeah, we could have taken that event if we didn't mess up, but yeah. And then the 2Ks leading up, we was always hitting seconds and thirds and fourths. Like, it was a good start to the year, I must admit.
Yeah, I thought it went well at least. However, there was a few things that shocked me about your team, your roster, how it was kind of developing. First of all, you were so hyped about Zed. You kept saying to me, his gun skills are amazing, his reflexes are amazing. This guy's going to be kind of a phenom this year. You said we got Watson under control, which is always going to be difficult. And Shawnee did well. You said to me, well, you said Shawnee, don't worry, Shawnee's good. Like this is going to be fine. What surprised me the most about that squad, though, was I think it was mainly because of you. You guys just didn't have the S&D chops I thought you might have. Yeah. Like respawn, you could definitely take respawns off people, but considering that your history and a lot of story behind you is this big S&D player. And your team didn't seem to be clicking on that level. Still not in fairness. What was going on? Like at least back then. We'll come to recent soon.
Back then, S&D with the game was just very new, and no one understood how to play the game to an extent. I still think people right now don't know how to play S&D on the game. It's very everyone hit this. It's like a bit like AW S&D where there's not much structure to it at all. Yeah. I can't wait for next year, by the way, because when you actually have to have setups and people have to use their brains, it's just going to be a shutdown.
Hey,
but
I'm an MWR genius.
Genius. You know me. Like I take pride in S&D, and it's actually really annoying this year because even Joel said since the start, our coach up to, that our S&D has been slacking horrifically. And maybe it's because we haven't had enough tournaments this year to play S&D in, and we only really good practice at LAN. But even then, I don't know. I just feel like Sed's a bit loose cannon in S&D. Watson's improved a lot in S&D since the start, and then Shawnee was always a good S&D player. But
yeah, well, I said you guys. It's not like you were the only good S&D player in that team, right?
Yeah.
Like you knew the other guys could perform. Watson could certainly perform S&D. Zed was very an aggressive player. He was almost like PD, but maybe not as good in that. Yeah. Not as good in that regard, but he probably gave away a few less the first bloods than he got. And again, Shawnee was this kind of. He's definitely a come-up player. He's doing okay after so far, and I think that's a good chance to now move on to talk about the change. It started well, it didn't continue well. You went to a few internationals, your results started slipping. Apart from your rivalry with Aches, which was definitely a highlight, because you kept consistently beating Cloud9. In fact, you were one of the main reasons, if I remember correctly, that Cloud9 actually had a bad run of events because you kept playing them in groups, you kept playing them in the bracket, like you just kept taking them down. But Shawnee left, right? Yeah,
that Shawnee leaving came from. So after Gfinity, I won't beat around the bush. Synaptic got banned, and that was why Zed was so good. He had the movement with Synaptic, hard to kill the guy, so good. And then we went into Atlanta, and Zach had one of his worst events this year, where he just wasn't killing people. And he's probably going to hate me for saying this, but I'm going to put it down to Synaptic. The guy's still really good. And he's going to improve this year massively, like keep on getting better because he's got past that stage now. But he didn't have such a good showing at Atlanta.
Do you think it was a confidence thing?
Yeah, definitely.
He knew that he wasn't performing as well. As soon as you go from dropping massive kills to I'm not doing quite as well. Do you think it was it may have impacted not just because obviously everybody dropped it, right? Everybody ended up dropping Synaptic. Do you think it was also like he knew that there was some of the gunfights he got into before he would win them, and then he's suddenly winning less, right? He's naturally winning less of them just because of that.
It definitely wound him up. I mean, like me, Watson, and Sean always tried to keep him positive vibes and that. But we should have done better than we did at Atlanta. I mean, we lost to Optic game and in the loser bracket like we did Vegas 3-1. And we probably should have taken them the distance. Then going into Paris, there was a few personal issues with myself and maybe Zach where we couldn't get online as much.
Yeah.
And then Shawnee was just kind of having enough of it. He just wants to grind. That's one thing I do like about Shawnee. He wants to grind, but sometimes when you've got family issues going on, you can't get on as much. We went to Paris, had a poor performance at Paris.
It wasn't good.
Awful. Come top 16, and then we got home, and Sean was just like to Joel, I want to leave. We tried to work on stuff, and then pretty much it just wasn't workable. We just had to. He wanted to go. We just let him go.
Okay, and that kind of brings in Ray to this conversation.
Uh-huh.
So this is the point where I was a little bit confused, because I knew you and Ray could do well, but I thought maybe with your recent issues, I wasn't entirely sure on whether Raid was the player to fix those issues, because it felt like for me, Shawnee was doing really well in the respawns, and I did think Raid would probably help up your S&D game, but I didn't know if he would help on the respawns as much as Shawnee did. So for me, it was that kind of question of where we go. Now, obviously, other people were saying, oh, you know, Rated and Reedy on one team, is this going to cause a conflict? I've known you guys for too long to say that I thought that was going to be the case. In fact, I think publicly I said it's going to be fine. So there's several people said it's going to be absolutely fine. The problem being, of course, is that it didn't seem to really do what you were hoping it would do. Zed obviously was still performing okay. I think Watson really started to stand out maybe a little bit more in that team. But it improved your S&D a little bit. And originally, it really kind of detrimented you on the respawns for the next event.
Yeah, it did. Picking up Reese was kind of a bad idea. I mean, you always think the grass is greener. Reese is a great player, second at champs, the only person I've won with in Europe. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. He can take this team to the next level. But I guess people change, I change, and we just wasn't clicking as a team.
Yeah.
Practice wasn't fun. Nothing was fun in the team, and that's one thing I try to do is like try to enjoy myself. I know it's work, and everyone's there for one reason, and that's to get a win. But you need to try and enjoy yourself at the same time, and it just wasn't enjoyable for us. And then going to Dallas, not winning the series, vibes were just at an all-time low. Reese said he wanted to leave to management, like basically a week after Dallas, and then we just took it from there and just said, all right, then whatever, we'll get on when we can, play when we can, and just try and make season one worthwhile, and then just go from there.
Yeah, unfortunately, that seems like even in the past, obviously, there was going to be issues. Because this is when we start to approach the Pro League now. Now, it's interesting for several reasons. Now, lack of practice, I know you come out publicly and spoke about it. This lack of practice thing. It's something I said as well. It's hard to have faith in the team because I'd spoken to you. I'd known that the team was playing disjointed. I know that these issues were about at the very least. Obviously, I didn't speak about your issues publicly. Apart from I alluded to it in a few tweets. And then you spoke about it. You said it was impossible to get practice. Now, for me personally, Reedy, the fact that you can't get the practice and the fact that you weren't practicing, it still has the same effect, right? As much as you couldn't get the practices, if you're not practicing, well, the American teams were practicing, then they're gonna have an advantage, which is what I was trying to put out in my tweets. It's not as much as there is a background story to the fact that you couldn't get it, and it was if you wanted to play, you basically were going to just be playing GBs or wages or 8s, which is not ideal for a team that definitely needed to at least put in a better performance. I mean, you yourself, you actually ended up going to America. You're still in America now. What I kind of want to know, because a lot of this has been covered by various news outlets and stuff, about your breakdown in practice schedule that, you know, doesn't seem to be entirely your fault. What were the vibes like in the team at that time? Because going around, you're in America. I saw Zed play. Ray didn't play at all from what I saw. He was playing H1 most of the time. I'm sure he played some 8s here and there.
The vibes in the team were actually pretty good because we knew where the practice wasn't going to happen. Like we kind of just knew it was impossible. So we was like, all right, then cool. Just everyone get on, shoot your guns, go into the weekend. No pressure. Do it for ourselves. Like obviously you're still going to try and win. I mean, but there was no pressure on us to do awful. I mean, we've still done awful. Don't get me wrong. Like 1 and 5 is not acceptable. Yeah. But then again, like we've spoken to Elevate, next time we're going to get out early. There's not going to be no questions asked about it. We're going to have practice because every EU team is probably going to go out early again, and it's going to be the same thing again. So we're going to be getting out here early for season 2.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is the one silver lining, right? Is that you did qualify.
Yeah. Don't know how. I mean,
Well,
I feel bad for like people like Mill going out 2 weeks beforehand, putting an absolute shift in to not win a series, and then while we're sitting at home playing H1 or I'm at my girlfriend's house. I mean, I was still playing COD to just qualify
I
for
saw
everything.
you trying to get at least some practice in NA 8s and stuff.
I was trying, but they've all got egos, so I'm all bad at COD. Like, but I've got 3 teams. Yeah, everyone else are bloody awful, and I don't see why they don't get me involved in these 8s because I'm 10 times better than the majority of them. But you know, it's whatever. Don't mind.
Well, I think you had a decent performance in your week. It was looking better. Like I said to a few people before, right? Because I said one thing people don't understand. Like I do talk to the pros, and I've always said, look, if I level a criticism at you, it's not personal. It's a criticism from my point of view to how you're playing, how you're moving forward. And I said about you guys, I didn't have that much faith in you because I knew the team wasn't really joining it up, and that can be fixed with practice. Like you'll play well, but not click outside of the game. But I knew you weren't getting the practice either, so it did surprise me as well. However, the only caveat to that was I did say to about Red Reserve previously.
Birmingham and they all went psycho at you.
Yeah, I said that, right? And I said that, I said it to him. I even spoke to him in private. I said, look, I'm leveling a criticism at you. It's up to you to prove my theory wrong. Turns out, so far, they haven't. It did happen like I thought it would, that this team probably would improve in time, because they also had a problem in practice. Right? They didn't get anywhere near as many scrims in as they would like to.
But everyone just threw it at us. Like, they were...
I think it's because you guys come out and said it publicly. I think that was the issue, is that you guys publicly went, yeah, I'm just not playing COD. I think that was the issue. I think that's the reason like a lot of criticism was leveled at you guys, is that it was obvious Rated wasn't playing because he was streaming H1Z1 constantly. People knew you were in America. I think Watson and Zed both tweeted they couldn't get a script, couldn't get any team scrims at all. So I think that's why like the spotlight shone on you. But obviously, come out the Red Reserve didn't get the practice either, so they weren't able to improve from Birmingham. They weren't able to do it. So all of this kind of comes together. I'll be curious to see how Red Reserve do next time. That's the real thing for me. Another bad event. My theory is at least somewhat correct there. There's 3 bad. It's at least somewhat on the level. Can they fix it now that they're going to grind? They've got to grind for relegation. I certainly think that this team at least has the kind of talent around it to qualify again. It should qualify again. If they don't, that'd be a massive shock.
If Dave Marsh keeps playing the way he is, then yeah, they'll qualify again. That guy was a monster this weekend. He's back to Dave Marsh at the start of the game.
Yeah. And that's what they got to be looking for, right? Like this team is like Joe is fantastic. Although Joe didn't have a good event.
Joe had the worst KD in the season. He had the worst KD in season 1.
Blew my mind because I thought Joe was probably one of the best players on that team.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously,
KD's not everything. I mean, he does do a lot for him in terms of calling out spawns and S&D presence, but yeah, it was kind of surprising.
He was kind of the at least the highest rated player in that squad going into the week. Who play a lot of people were looking at, but I mean, what were your feelings like? So I want to kind of let's go straight into that week of the CWL then. Your team is all met up. You're all arrived. How much practice were you able to get warming up wise before you start playing? Because you couldn't even scrim the other teams, surely.
Well, we could have scrimmed the other teams, but Reese didn't want to. He said, "What's the point in scrimming Optic when we've been not scrimming Red for the past 3 weeks?" I mean, makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense.
So, but we was just playing free-for-alls. Watson played a few 8s with everyone there. I was just playing free-for-alls. I can't do 8s. I just started losing my mind at them.
Right, okay.
So we was doing a couple free-for-alls and 8s. I mean, but the first day I got there, I shot about 400, 500 bots. And then I didn't shoot bots for the rest of the weekend. I just played a quick free-for-all before our game starts. I'm someone that doesn't really warm up before our games. I feel like I'm not an actual game-time player. I can just turn on a PlayStation and perform well. The other boys, they done a few free-falls and 8s, but vibes were good. We were just going into the weekend having like chilled vibes. We was laughing on stage majority of the time, just having.
I noticed that in game, because obviously I watched the broadcasts. I could see whenever it went to your team cam, I could see there were good vibes. I was mainly focused on Zed. I could always see Zed smiling.
Yeah, he was mooing down the mic. Yeah.
Which is just I can't be dealing with that. All right, moo being a thing now. It was a thing in the chat. You guys didn't even see it. It was in the chat. They were out there mooing in the chat when you did hot mic. But you didn't have a great start, right? Definitely went 0-4. The first day for me was one of the ones where I was really looking at your team going, look, how well are these guys going to do? Very much depends on this first day. You've got Optic the next day. And as much as I love you, Reedy, I was never going to take you against Optic. It just wasn't going to happen, right? So I know after the first day you were in a bad position. Now, with the way the CWL works, we'll go from 0 to 4. You come into the last day. You guys didn't know that you could possibly take it from Red in that last game, did you, from what I understand?
No. I knew. I didn't tell my teammates. I knew. Marky told me I could do it. I wanted them to play with no pressure.
Okay.
I wanted them to just be themselves, enjoy playing COD, win for wanting to win. Like Joe and Zed are good friends, and I wanted Zed to beat him again. I don't want to lose to Niall. I hate losing to that guy. I think he's fucking trash.
Right, okay.
He's a great kid. He's a great kid, but I just think he's awful at COD. I just can't stand losing to him. Like after they beat me on the first day, I was like, I'm not losing to you again.
Well, because this is the other thing. You beat Red Reserve at Birmingham, right?
Mm-hmm.
You give him a bit of a whooping on the respawns. S&D didn't win, but that's just a normal thing. I understand. So yeah, okay. I didn't know about you and Niall. That's actually something new for me.
It's not really that deep. I mean, I just don't like losing to the guy. I feel like he got a golden ticket into that team. Like he should not be in that team.
Okay.
Like that was a bigger golden ticket than Scraps getting picked up last year when people were saying it was a golden ticket. Like it's like the team with someone that came second at champs. Like come on.
In fact, that is true. Joe did come second last year, so that is.
Like,
I can see your point in a way. Yeah, I mean, for me, I always thought Niall was one of the better players in the CWL for his team last year. I thought he did very well for a player who hadn't had that much exposure to the pro level. Obviously, he's trying to push his career forward this year. It's going backwards. Until Red Reserve sort their problems out. But no, like as soon as you said, because I think you were the one who interviewed in the CWL, right? And you were like, I think we've done it, and obviously it was a weight off your mind. As soon as you qualified for season 2, I know you said, a few weeks back, that was your goal, right? You thought, qualifying for playoffs would have been amazing, but qualifying for season 2 was everything.
Yeah, like qualifying for playoffs would have been amazing because obviously it comes with season 2 champs and that. But with the practice situation and stuff, I mean, I would have taken third in that group any day of the week. Again, I'm still not happy with the 1-5 record or anything like that, but I feel like we did show glimpses of promise. Like both times we played Optic, honestly I felt like we played them the best day the whole weekend. Even though we got 3-0'd once, every single map was absolutely close, and then the 3-2, every map was close. And then Red, we lost 3-2, 1-3-2. I mean, bar E6, I felt like there was a lot of promise there, and I'm just excited to get back and grind really, because we know we can still compete. Like it's not just completely run off like people are taking it over my head with the practice thing. Like it means nothing to me.
Okay. Well, on that note, let's move forward into the present and the future. Okay. So you already alluded to earlier on, you knew Reedy wanted to leave back at Dallas. At what point after qualifying for season 2 did he say, "By the way, lads, I'm out of here"?
Literally, as soon as we got back to the hotel, me rated.
Great job, we're in season 2, lads. I'm off.
No, it wasn't like that. It was me rated, Zach, Lisa, Taylor. We all went back. We went to Chipotle, went back to the hotel. I was speaking to our fourth on the Twitter, like getting ready to sort everything out with Elevate. And I was like, right,
this was premeditated from you as well as like you knew it was coming regardless of what happened.
Of course. When Reedy said he wanted to leave. If we won the group, we would have stayed playing until after season 1, and then he would have still left. I don't know what Reese is like. Okay. It was like we got back, I was speaking to our fourth, speaking to Elevate, sorting all that out, and I was like, alright then cool, I'm going to go speak to Reese and just make sure he's good with us announcing soon and like all that good stuff. Went to his room, spoke to him a little bit, he said he was leaving, and then all that good stuff, sorted everything out with Elevate, so it was all great.
Okay, and then obviously, because he announced first, right?
Yeah. Well, Elevate and him announced at the same time that they were leaving.
Here's the interesting. Here's a bit for me, and this may just be stereotypical trolling from European players, right? Is Watson said on Twitter, "Oh, you're leaving." Is that just Watson being Watson, or was that Watson just trolling?
Watson being Watson. I mean, Reece said he wanted to leave.
Watson just didn't believe him.
Yeah. Very much. It's just Watson being Watson.
Just Watson being Watson. Which, if you're European, is pretty much just how Watson rolls, right? All right, well, because this is coming out, and I will delay it just in case you haven't done it. but we can talk about this now. Your new fourth, Reedy, is
Desire from ex Epsilon player.
Wow. Okay. Explain it. Talk to me, and because I only found out about this, by the way, about 45 minutes ago. It was news to me as well. So let's talk about this pickup then.
So when Reedy said he wanted to leave, me, Joel, and the rest of the lads looked at players, so who we could get pre-Birmingham, because he wanted to leave like prior to Birmingham. And then we looked at everyone, and honestly, without a doubt, I thought Ben would be the best fit for the team. He's gone through that stage of where I went through last year of being in an elite level team with the Fabby team that came fourth at Champs, then taking a little decline, then getting dropped, then getting like missing out on season one. Now he's going to be picked up into a team. He's going to be very grateful for it. He's going to be very hardworking, willing to learn. And you saw at Champs how great he played. I mean, even prior to Champs, like Paris, he played amazing for that Epsilon team. Him and Bequeath, and he's always stood out in his teams. Like he's a good slayer. And that's something that we need. Like someone that can consistently put kills up and respawn, and do it with an E-Red, do it with an AR, do it with a random gun. It doesn't matter. As long as this guy's getting kills on the map, I'm going to be happy. And we looked at him and we just thought it would be the best fit, me, Joel, and the lads. And we just put it into motion. Like pre-Birmingham, just made sure he kept on playing, kept on grinding, play those 2Ks with his team right now. I mean, I kind of feel sorry for his team that he's just left like Shay and that, because we all knew it was going to happen. Like regardless of us making season 2 or going for relegation, he was always going to be coming into this team.
Okay. So there are several factors to this, really. Like there are so many questions that I kind of have to lay the ground here for. First of all, if I remember correctly, when Desire was originally dropped, it was due to bad practice schedule. It was due to lack of commitment, from what I understand.
No,
I mean, and they wanted baseball. I mean, it was cited as one of the reasons.
I'm sorry, but that's all bullshit. Desire got dropped because Steve-O's in love with B-Sport, B-Sport's in love with the Queeve, and they're all just great friends, and Ben was the person that got picked. I mean, if it was the other way around, someone else would have got dropped from that team. Ben didn't have, like, at the start of the year, maybe you could have said he had a bit of commitment issues, but he still played more GBs on that team than Hawkey did. And the Queeve. Like, Steve-O was the only person in that Epsilon team that was grinding GBs out, so he was the only person that was actually committed. The other three still were in the same boat. But he didn't get dropped for anything like that. I
thought it was worth mentioning, all right, just because obviously you're the guy who's picked him up, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't take a risk on someone like that. I mean, I'd done it with Watson.
And he seems to settle
down. His word. Yeah, he's given me his word, and he's been perfectly fine this year.
Okay. So it's an interesting pickup. What are you looking for from Desire to improve? What does Desire bring to this team that you need, that you picked him up?
All right, so what he's going to bring to this team is more kills on the map, good vibes, and we're going to be a team for like the first time in over 6 months. Like I can't wait to actually go out and have dinner with 4 people, because we've never done it at events. Our chemistry has been awful. Like even when Sean was in the team, we've never gone out. Like, and I said from now on, like we're going to start being a team. Like we need to start meshing well out of game, in game, have them good vibes. And then our skill will take it to the next level. Like, if we've got good vibes and communicating well and stuff like that, our skill is just going to elevate us even more, no pun intended. I want to win an event this year. Like, I don't care if it's European or American, and I'm going to try to do everything I can to do that. I mean, if I play the way I did those last 3 maps against Red, and try to stay consistent like that throughout the year.
Well, yeah, because you certainly did pretty well.
Yeah, no, it was crazy. I can't see why we wouldn't. I mean, Ben's a great player, and Watson's going to be more comfortable because he always felt out of place with Reese in the team. He always felt threatened that he was going to get dropped. Hopefully Zach gets back to where he was, like, pre-Gfinity, just killing everything. Okay. Me and Joel, we've all said we're going to work on stuff like that with each other, and S&D is going to be fixed because S&D does win championships.
It most certainly does, especially since it's quite commonly a swing map, because it kind of gives you that momentum back into the game. But another interesting thing about this Desire pickup is you haven't caused a roster mania.
No.
No offense, but you probably didn't have the pulling power to nick someone from the other top 5 teams, if that makes sense.
Well,
possibly Red Reserve, but I can't see where you would steal from the other squads at this time.
We could have. We've got a lot of bargaining power right now with coming third, qualifying for everything, not the stress of going for relegation.
That's true, actually. What, Mill didn't, Fnatic didn't.
And who else? Red.
And Red, yeah. Oh, that's true. Actually, I didn't think of that point. Yeah, in fairness,
So
you
we
could have
have got
guaranteed a slot.
power, but it's then again those players from those teams like I've been there, done that with Matty. I wouldn't want to
Plus,
go
it'd be
from
hard to pull him away from his brother, right?
pull it hard to pull him away from his brother and Fnatic.
Yeah.
Infused or Mill. I
Yeah.
mean, they've just signed a contract with. They've just been bought by Mill. I can't see any of them being let go, like unless for stupid amounts of money, which is just not worth. And then Red, I don't really rate anyone on that team but Dave Marsh, and he's the captain, so he wouldn't leave Red. So
Yeah, he was. Yeah, because let's say, and obviously you're not going to be able to pull from Splice.
yeah, you know, nice. And
Epsy,
then everyone else in
yeah.
Europe is just nah. Not very good.
So we've done it. You've got a new pickup, and you've avoided a roster mania, which is kind of leaves me curious. And I don't think we should dip into this because it's obviously going to happen in the next few weeks of where Rated's going and what Rated is doing now. Because there isn't unless he can somehow crack a team like that. And it is possible. The 3 teams we just spoke about, it is possible for him to slip in there somewhere, or he just waits until there is a slot. But yeah, he's probably one of those 3 teams, and it wouldn't surprise me to see him going to any one of them.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Someone will drop someone for him. I mean, he's a great player, don't get me wrong. He's just...
Yeah, Fnatic, Mill, or Red. He's going to one of those. But all right, okay, let's talk about... Because that kind of neatly put in a pin into everything so far for you up to this date. The one thing we didn't cover is you joining Elevate. I don't know, we kind of missed that part where you did join Elevate. And we kind of talked about the negatives of it. And I want to just quickly tap on the positives maybe to end this entire thing. How did that come about? At what point did they go, oh, we're shopping for a EU team? How excited were you to kind of join the Elevate squad? How's it been in Elevate?
So not many people will know this, but back on Ghosts, I was in an org called Exertus. And
no, I remember.
So you remember, and the owner of Exertus is the owner of Elevate now. They merged back in Ghosts just before I got dropped. They were merging Elevate and Exertus together. All the teams and players were going over and the staff and that. And then so I've kept in good contact with Brandon throughout the years. He's a great guy. And then started this year, I just heard he was just hitting up players and he was like, yo, do you want to do something for the league this year? And I spoke to him a bit, got everything sorted out. And then I was just excited to work with him again because Brandon's a really straight up honest guy. He goes about stuff the right way, I feel anyways. And his back staff like Mike, Abner, well, Abner's not with us anymore, but they're all just great guys, really. Rob. It's been good being under them. We've got what we've needed from them. They've never given us any stress. I mean, the only downfall was trying to get out here early for the season 1 to practice more, but then again, it was kind of out their control. I kind of sprung it on them a bit late.
Yeah, that's fair enough. It's not an insignificant investment, right?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. And they must be... Now, how were they after week 4 of the Pro League that's just happened? Because obviously they must have been nervous at home that they've invested into your team. You've gone 0-4. You actually went 0-5, and then your last game against Red. Was it like were they still disappointed, or were they like, thank goodness we're in season 2?
They wasn't disappointed. I mean, Brandon's already said he's got full faith in me this year. I mean, we made a bad decision with letting Sean go, or actually letting him go, getting Reedy. I kind of throw my hands up to that. It was an awful decision, but it is what it is. Brandon said he's got full faith in me to like take this team to a championship, and that's what I'm going to keep on trying to do. Before we played the last game, Mike, who was there this weekend, just said, get the boys in the zone, try win. If you don't, we'll regroup, go through relegation. If we do, happy days.
Okay.
We managed to pull through. I mean, they've been nothing but supportive. I have not one bad thing to say about the org, and I'm excited for the future with them.
Well, awesome. All right. Well, I think that kind of neatly wraps everything up there. I wish you the best of trips back from America, because you are obviously still out there, I believe, with your current paramour. All right. Well, I hope you have a good time. I'm guessing you're taking a slight break now.
I'll be back. Yeah, we could call this a break. I'll be back scrimming next Friday.
Okay. Well, congratulations on making it to season 2. Thank you very much for coming on. I know it's been almost a year since we last caught up. Just kind of call a recap everything that's going on. I wish you the best of luck in season 2 and with your new pickup. We'll talk about when I can release this. As soon as I see the announcement, then I can put the video out, right?
Hopefully it'll go out tonight.
Yeah, hopefully it will. All right, well, thank you very much, Reedy. Thank you, everyone watching at home. Any comments, chuck them down below. Let me know, you know, do you enjoy these? Who do we want on next? Any questions I should be asking? I think I hit most of the bases, but I don't know. I'm okay at this. All right, thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.